Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. This week, two incidents shocked the overseas Chinese communities a lot. One is the outright murder of a high-profile Chinese dissident lawyer and a former leader of the Tiananmen Student Movement in New York. Another is that the U.S. Justice Department suddenly charged 5 CCP spies in the US and revealed 3 cases about how rampant the CCP spies are in the US. I'm pretty much sure that similar spies and operations also exist in other countries. And I exclusively found some connections between the murdered lawyer and the two CCP spies who were just charged. So today I will talk about these issues. Again, a Shen Yun video first.
Experience China before communism. The life-changing performance. Shen Yun. Buy tickets on shenyun.com.
This ad is for the Lincoln Center in New York. There will be a few more shows there until March 20th. Tickets are on sale now. If you live in New York and haven't watched it yet, this is your last chance this year to see it. If you don't live in New York, don't worry. Type in the address on the screen, that is shenyun.show/Jennifer-Zeng, and you can find the show schedules in your city. Shen Yun has 7 equally large companies that are touring the world now. If you buy from this link, you can save the handling fee. How do you like this photo? Shen Yun's male dancers are so strong and athletic, and their skills will definitely amaze you. Well, before I go to our main topic today, a very important amendment to make to my last show about the 3 reasons why the CCP has to stick to its zero tolerance policy. Actually, there is a very important 4th reason as well, but I didn't talk about it. Why? Because if I talk about it, I need to use a sensitive word that could be immediately caught by YouTube. As a result, my video will get a yellow flag again, which means this video will be marked as limited for ad shootability, and I won't get any payment for it. But you know what? Although I didn't talk about it and didn't use that sensitive word, my video still got a yellow flag. You can see from here that half of my recent shows were limited. But today I will make it up. And despite the censorship, actually, one viewer wrote to me and suggested that instead of using that sensitive word starting with the letter V, I can use CCP virus preventative medicine to get around it. So let's try our luck here to see if this video will be marked as limited again. Anyway, the 4th and very important reason for the CCP to stick to its hysteric zero tolerance policy is because none of the CCP's preventative medicine works. So, according to the CCP's official numbers, up to yesterday, that is March 16th, more than 3.2 billion CCP virus preventative shots have been put into people's arms in China. 3.2 billion for 1.4 billion people. So on average, everyone has got more than 2 shots. In terms of how many people have been fully covered by it, the official figure is by the end of February this year, 87% of Chinese people have been fully covered. So the coverage is really high, right? With such a high degree of coverage, the CCP still does not ease its control at all. So this shows that the CCP has no confidence in its various preventative medicine at all, right? One audience member sent me an email and said that he has talked to many friends and doctors in China, and it is the case that the CCP's Sinovac, etc., doesn't work. So they are doing a huge cover-up because that would be extremely bad for the CCP's image in the world and the stability of Xi Jinping's rule. So this is the fourth reason why the CCP has to stick to its zero-case policy. Now, let's go to our main topic today. On Monday, March 14th, there was a very shocking event that happened in New York City. Li Jingjing, or Jim Li, a very famous Chinese dissident lawyer and former leader of the Tiananmen Square pro-democracy movement, was stabbed to death in his office in broad daylight. This picture shows police blocking his office after the stab. And this is a picture of Jim Li. Actually, it is a screenshot of him doing an interview with NTD TV a while ago. He was jailed for 2 years in China after participating in the 1989 Tiananmen Square Student Movement. He came to the US after that to seek asylum and later became a lawyer. He ran a law firm in Flushing in New York and had helped a lot of people with their immigration applications. And the killer, Zhang Xiaoning, is a 25-year-old young Chinese woman who just came to the US in August last year. Almost everyone in the Chinese diaspora community was greatly shocked by the murder, and everybody was asking why. So on the next day, when the killer was escorted out of the police station, there was a large crowd of journalists and Chinese migrants waiting outside, trying to get some information on the motive of the murderer. Let's watch a short video showing what she said when someone asked her whether she regretted what she had done.
最后悔的就是你们这些叛徒，你们身为中国人是要反共，你们已经害死无数学生，还要害学生。最后悔的就是你们这些叛徒，你们身为中国人是要反共，你们已经害死无数学生，还要害学生。
All right, folks, please, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up.
Well, did you hear what she said? She called the onlookers traitors because they oppose the CCP as Chinese people. So in her mind, if you oppose the CCP, you are a traitor. And this is another photo of Zhang Xiaoning protesting in front of the UN building in New York last year when the during the UN meeting in September. The Chinese words on the CCP flag she holds say, "I was raped by Beijing police. The evil police must be punished." The man beside her is Bai Jieming, who was helping her with her case. Her story is quite confusing. She came to the US last August and then sought asylum, claiming that she had been raped by Beijing police. Then, in November last year, she posted online saying that she had not been raped by Beijing police. She was safe in the US. She was forced by Bai Jiemin to tell lies, etc. But she then flipped her stance again and apologized to Bai Jiemin, saying she was pressured, and that was why she denied that she was raped by Beijing police. After she murdered Jim Lee, Bai Jiemin told the Chinese language entity TV that Zhang Xiaoning was approached by officials from the Chinese consulate in New York. Obviously, the Chinese officials pressured her and also threatened her with the safety of her family in China. It was not known exactly when the Chinese officials talked to Zhang Xiaoning and pressured her, or whether Zhang changed her stance because of the talk. Anyway, after Zhang Xiaoning's refugee application was denied by the US Immigration Department, she approached Jim Lee and asked him to help her sue her previous lawyer, who failed to get her refugee status. Jim Lee refused, and she made quite a scene in his office. After that, Jim Lee told the reception in the office building not to allow her in. Then, on March 14th, Zhang bought a cake and took it to Jim Lee's office, saying that she came to apologize for what she did last time. After learning that she came to apologize with a big cake, Jim Lee agreed to let her in. As soon as she entered Lee's office, she immediately locked the door from inside, and then somebody outside the office heard Jim Lee say, "She cut my carotid artery." That was the last sentence Jim Lee ever said. When people outside the office realized something had gone terribly wrong and broke in the office, they found Jim Lee's carotid arteries at both the left and the right sides of his neck were cut open, and he was also stabbed right at the heart. So every strike of Zhang Xiaoning was fatal, very professional, and very cold blood. He wasted no strikes at all. After people in the building called 911, Zhang Xiaoning was very composed. She didn't try to escape. Instead, she calmly went to the restroom to wash her hands. And after she came back to the office, she spat on Jim Lee's body on the ground. So, because Zhang killed Lee in such a professional, cool-headed, and cold-blooded way, people started to wonder whether she had received professional training before. Another suspicious thing about her is that in August last year, because of the pandemic issue, it was very difficult for ordinary Chinese people to leave China at all. Many of them even got their passports taken away by authorities. So how was she able to get out? After Jim Lee was stabbed to death, this Chinese Twitter user, who has a CCP flag beside his username, was celebrating his death. When forwarding the video of Zhang Xiaoning being taken away by police, he called Zhang a hero and said she had eliminated a harmful element for the people. And in this tweet, he said Zhang was enforcing justice on behalf of heaven. Jim Lee deserved to die, and none of those pro-democracy elements are innocent. And in this tweet, he commented on someone else's tweet about how Zhang Xiaoning could have a mental disease, and said something to the effect of, "Wow, how wonderful. For someone who has a mental disease, she cannot be held accountable for the murder, right? Jim Lee, you cannot weep in your grave. And in this tweet, he said that after Zhang got rid of this bad guy, the next target should be Jim Zhang's boss, Wang Juntao. Well, Wang Juntao is also a very famous Chinese dissident living in the US. This is a screenshot of him doing an interview actually with myself back in 2011. I was a reporter with the Chinese language channel NTD-TV then. So the above is what we know about this murder case for now. Is it a political murder or an outright assassination planned and operated by the CCP on US soil, or is it just a personal tragedy? We have no idea now. Hopefully, law enforcement will find out for us. Actually, yesterday, that is 2 days after Jim Lee's death, the US Department of Justice announced that it had charged 5 individuals with stalking, harassing, and spying on US citizen residents on behalf of the CCP's secret police. The details revealed by the Eastern District Court of New York was shocking. All of the 5 individuals legally perpetrated transnational repression schemes to target US residents whose political views and actions are disfavored by the PRC government, such as advocating for democracy in the PRC. The complaint lists 5 different cases in which the CCP spies or agents sought to interfere with US federal elections, planned to destroy the artwork. Actually, the CCP virus sculpture in California planted surveillance equipment in the artist's workplace and car to spy on him from China, etc. In order to damage the reputation of a victim, the CCP told one of the 5 individuals, whatever price is fine, as long as you can do it. If the spy cannot find any scandals, he can just create some, go find a girl, or see how he goes for prostitution, take some pictures, something of that nature, or beat him until he cannot run for election, or create a car incident until he's completely wrecked. These are all written in the complaint. Another case involves the burning of the CCP virus statue in July last year. I'm very proud to say that I broke that story in English much earlier than other English media outlets. Actually, I don't think that story was covered at all by many mainstream English outlets. Anyway, the sculpture was burned down completely destroyed on July 23rd, 2021. So according to the complaint, 3 men were involved in damaging the CCP virus sculpture. And these are the pictures of the 3 men. One of them, Marshall Zeberis, pretended to be an art dealer and approached the sculptor, Mr. Chen Weimin, and installed surveillance cameras and GPS devices at his workplace and in his car. Marshall Zeberis also pretended that he wanted to buy artwork from Chen and even signed a contract with him, but he broke the contract. So Chen Weimin hired a New York lawyer to file a civil lawsuit against this CCP spy Zebros. At that time, Chen didn't know that Zebros was a CCP spy yet. He sued him only because he broke the contract. So he filed that case only recently, less than 1 month ago. And do you know who was the lawyer Chen hired? It was no other than Jim Lee, who was stabbed to death on Monday. So is there a connection between Jim Lee's death and this CCP spy Marshal Zebris? We have no idea. The third case that the U.S. Justice Department revealed yesterday is a CCP spy called Wang Shujun. This is a photo of Wang Shujun. He's actually very active among Chinese dissidents. Before he was arrested yesterday, everyone thought he was a respected Chinese scholar and dissident. He set up a pro-democracy foundation and often organized pro-democracy events. But the real purpose was to connect name lists and information about Chinese dissidents, including Hong Kong pro-democracy activists, advocates for Taiwan independence, and Uyghur and Tibetan activists, etc., both in the United States and abroad. One of the victims, Wang reported, a Hong Kong democracy activist, was arrested in Hong Kong and jailed on political charges in April 2020. And you know what? While Wang Shujun had been the secretary of the foundation he set up, Jim Lee had been the foundation's chairman and the president of the board of directors. This is a report about the foundation's annual meeting in 2011. You can see the first person on the left is Jim Lee, and the person beside him is no other than Wang Shujun. So again, somehow Jim Lee was connected with a CCP spy who just got revealed and arrested yesterday. So does Jim Lee's death have anything to do with Wang Junshu? We have no idea either. According to Los Angeles lawyer Zeng Chunzhu, it is well known that the CCP abuses Interpol's red notices to track down fugitive dissidents, and in order to force them to return to China, the CCP often threatens these people's families in China. And Jim Lee had helped a number of people who were on the CCP's red notices list to seek asylum in the US. So he might know many of the CCP's top secrets. Zeng Chunzhu wonders whether that could also be a reason why Jim Lee was murdered. Again, we have no way to know until more evidence is unearthed in the future. I think I'm again the first one who laid out in English the connections between Jim Lee and the CCP spies who just got arrested in the US. I will tag the FBI when I share this video on social media. Hopefully, this can give them some clues for their future investigations. Well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please help me spread my videos or go to my website at jenniferzengblog.com to sign up for a membership or make a donation to support my truth-telling efforts. Thank you. See you next time.